I would like to welcome Mr. Deepak Prem Narayan, President IMC, Dr. Lalit Kanodia, Vice President IMC, Mr. Farhad Jamal, Chairman Travel, Tourism and Hospitality Committee, and our very special guest of honor, Srimati Valsa Nair Singh, IAS Principal Secretary, Tourism and Culture, Government of Maharashtra. Please welcome everyone on the dais, please. Lighting of the lamp, which we have today, and for that I would like to call upon Mr. Tanjay Kapoor, Head and Marketing Sales for Apollo Hospital, and Dr. Rajkumar Chaudhary, Senior Medical Superintendent, Bombay Hospital, and we begin today by lighting the lamp. Thank you so much. And to deliver the welcome address, I would like to call upon Mr. Deepak Prem Narayan, President IMC.
Thank you. Sorry, I just switched my phone off. I heard a tune which is almost similar. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to you today on IMC's first conclave on medical tourism. I'm sure, Farhad, you and your team have done a fantastic job, and I'm going to thank the sponsors later. But this is the first platform that we have set in a vertical which is very important for our country. On one hand, you have, which may sound cliche, to our Prime Minister. He's been talking about job creation and most of his foreign visits. I was with him recently in South Africa and Mozambique, and this is an area that he gave great thrust to. I'd also like to welcome our guest of honor today, Mrs. Valsa Nair. She has been a fantastic decision-making bureaucrat. Her reputation is that of supporting industry. Incredible India, if I might go back, the Kerala theme is something you played an important part also. So what we have with her, we've got a great combination between a young minister who couldn't make it today because of an election that he's tied up with. He's passionate, very energetic, bubbling with ideas, and he's got a great partner in Valsa, who's got experience, and with that it makes a great combination in our state. Where do we stand on medical tourism today? Let me cover in terms of Thailand, for instance, or South Korea. You take South Korea, they have attracted almost all the people coming out of CIS for medical tourism into their country. They offer direct flights. They've set up tourism boards in 14 of the CIS countries. They work very actively. They've set up hospitals there also, so that's the first round of attraction, and then the people flow into Seoul and other parts of South Korea for treatment. So they've been very aggressive. You take Thailand for that matter. They have a very active office in Ethiopia, in Nigeria, and some of the other African countries. They've got that's tourism board, and they actively hold conclaves there. Where does India stand? I was talking to Samir Somaya just now, and he was talking in terms of the cost benefit that India has today compared to, let's say, Singapore. Somebody went there for treatment and paid 15 lakhs. And he says the same thing could be done here for about 1,75,000 rupees with almost the same quality. But what is on the other hand, I was talking to Dr. Conclave, and he came back from Zimbabwe recently, and he's come back from Nairobi. And what he mentioned was very interesting, that very senior people there mentioned to him, which is almost, I mean, if I might say that this was at the president level in Zimbabwe and the prime minister in Uganda, they mentioned that the India lacks credibility. Lacks credibility in terms of promises, lacks credibility in terms of delivery at times. But this is rapidly changing. Because what I also discovered, I was talking to somebody last night, and they own a chain of hospitals, to understand more about the conclave today and sort of prepare a bit so that I'm not totally out of sync. And they were saying that now, with several of the CIS countries, our ambassadors are promoting that very strongly. And in North India, there is a great amount of people coming for treatment out of Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, etc. And these are direct flights, about 2 to 3 hours journey. But where the travel is about 6 to 7 hours, South Korea is yet an important destination for them. And India has also become cost effective because their local currencies have devalued substantially 30 to 70% over the last 1 year because they are oil-based economies. So this is an opportunity for us. We have specialists, we have skill sets, and today we attract people to come here for cardio treatment. For orthopedics, we've got Dr. Darius here, and names like this attract foreigners to come here for treatment. We're strong on gastro issues, we're strong on oncology, people come from overseas, including the UK, United States. On the other hand, why is it a great opportunity? You take a country like the UK, I'm conscious of doctors from South Korea, from South Africa who travel there and spend 6 weeks in a year. It's not manufacturing alone. Its services plays a very important role, and this is going to be our sunrise industry. So with 8,000 jobs in a hospital, if you said 10 hospitals is 80,000, and if you said 100 hospitals, it's almost reaching 1 million. So this is what this sector can contribute towards the growth of our economy. With this, I don't want to take up more of your time. I'd now request the next speaker to come on. And if I have missed out something, I'll take the liberty of coming back later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that insightful address. I would now request Mr. Deepak Prem Narayan and Mr. Faraj Jamal to felicitate our guest of honor, Srimati Valsa Nair Singh, IAS. And I would now request Mr. Faraj Jamal, Chairman, Travel, Tourism and Hospitality Committee, IMC, to give a formal introduction of the Medical Tourism Conclave.
President, thank you very much for a very insightful welcome address. I was just thinking what is left for me to say. Principal Secretary, Tourism and Culture, Government of Maharashtra, Mrs. Valsa Nair Singh. Our Vice President, Dr. Vivek, Director General Arvind Pradhan, IMC committee members, distinguished guests, friends from the media, friends from hospitality, our partners, and ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning and namaskar to all of you. It is indeed my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to the first ever Medical Tourism Conclave. Over time, India's growth story has been driven by various sectors. If you recollect, agriculture, which led to the Green Revolution, manufacturing post the liberalization in the early 90s, and of course the IT boom over the last few decades. Many of us wonder about the next big sector which is going to drive the success story of our country going forward. It has been widely accepted that medical tourism in India would be one of, if not the only next big success story. With the sector expected to grow to 8 billion from current $3 billion US, I think that's an exponential growth by itself. These are all predictions. It can go much more than this. Many factors have contributed to the growth of this sector in India, and to accelerate this pace of growth, the stakeholders of this stake must, or at least should focus on a few success factors. I would like to talk about roughly 3 specific factors which are important going forward. First, of course, the information and the role of the digital. Second one, the state-of-the-art facilities and quality of healthcare. And third is building partnerships. When I say information and role of digital, I think we all know that we are living in a digital age and information is available immediately, widely, and instantly. However, when it comes to providing information on medical tourism, the patients still have to rely on intermediary agencies, individuals talk to patients who have gone through some medical treatment or surgeries or healthcare attention, and gather information on their own from a host of sources, which is not so nice. I mean, can you imagine traveling for leisure? How much information you have to go to TripAdvisor and see which hotel you want to stay and what the city is all about and everything. Medical tourism doesn't provide all that information. It's so hard for patients to find this, and you're going for a distressful situation. You're not going for leisure, and you need to find easier ways. We need to find easier ways of doing it. And for that reason, I'm saying that the journey of the patient, when it starts from looking up for doctors, hospitals, search of referrals, arranging visas, and finally, about travel, treatment, and recuperation. A single platform which would help to provide all this information and assistance to the patients, which will go a long way in helping to boost the sector in our country. This platform could provide the following facilities, and this is only suggested: pre and post online consultations, 24-hour assistance, hospital doctor search, logistics and travel planning, tickets, stay bookings, patients' testimonials, and of course any other relevant information that the patient might require. President mentioned to me about Dr. Conclave, and I also had a chat with him, and he said, he's got an online digital platform or a very end-to-end kind of solutions, which was very heartening to hear. But possibly it's time for us to expand that, which is possibly reachable to a larger section of population in this country and outside the country, if we are targeting patients from various parts of the world. Such a platform will facilitate travel for patients, while also increasing the transparency and ease with which transactions are carried out. An important area for development is also in terms of availability of multilingual staff. I see out of my experience in Mumbai, for many years, I go to various path labs and hospitals, and you find primarily Indians who've self-taught interpreters in Arabic. Yeah, they all are very, very good actually, and they all try to facilitate this. But as the President said, we are getting patients from various other parts of the world. The CIS, for example, Afghanistan, Iraq, from Russia, would you believe it? Where we are getting a large traffic from Russia for medical tourism. And so we need to find and train people for being multilingual. There's no other important thing that's for you to understand each other when you're talking, when you are conveying your problem to another individual, then in the same language that the other person understands and be able to act upon. I think that's a very important factor. State-of-the-art facilities and quality of healthcare. The technology aspect of medical tourism can be looked into in 2 different ways. First is for countries which lack, we are targeting countries which lack medical facilities, state-of-the-art healthcare. They're not able to invest. They're currently, there are many countries that come to mind. I think we've already spoken about them. Then there are the other set of countries which are in the developed world, where healthcare has become extremely expensive, and the waiting times are very long. So those countries are also in that sense a target audience for them to come to India for healthcare. Indian medicine and medical services have always been abreast of latest technological advancements, and this gives India a tremendous advantage when it comes to medical tourism. India India sees many tourists from countries such as Bangladesh, African nations, Iraq, Afghanistan, Nepal, due to lack of latest medical facility and latest medical services in these countries. By continuing to develop medical technology, India will continue to attract such tourists in future. By keeping costs of these services low, India will be able to attract tourists from developed nations such as the United States, the UK, Australia. I'm told Australia is the one big nation from where we get a lot of people for medical care, especially things like hip transplant, knee surgeries, and so on. Dental care. India is much more affordable at the same time, offering effective and latest solutions. Another key enabler in the accreditation is the hospitals. I know some of you may heard, the doctors in the room may heard about JCI. We have about 30 JCI accredited hospitals. This is an international accreditation. We have 30 just now, and I'm sure we can do with more, because I think it's really, really important that when patients travel to India, they need to look at hospitals which have JCI accreditation. This is just a testimony of quality, basically. So we need to work harder on that, and we get more hospitals in this whole JCI accreditation. The government could also look at encouraging the manufacturing of medical devices and implants within the country to further drive down costs of such surgeries and medical interventions. As part of Make in India drive, our Prime Minister Modi has allowed 100% FDI in the medical devices sector, which is a great step forward, because you won't believe it that we import almost 80% plus devices from outside India. We have nothing indigenous, very little indigenous. So I think there's a great opportunity for international companies to set up shop in India, help our own very skilled labor and our investors and our businessmen to set up industries to ensure that we're able to be self-sufficient in this. And maybe that would bring down our costs too in the long run. The third key enabler, of course, is the building partnerships. There are various players which come to mind in the whole journey of the patient, and a lot can be done to provide seamless experience for the patient. Some of the areas that can be explored are travel companies and hospitals to come together to facilitate ease of travel. Tie up with alternative medicine options such as Ayurveda, which is, of course, everybody knows India is the home of Ayurveda, and I don't think so we are doing enough to encourage that and to bring a lot more travel to India. Alternative healthcare is very, very big, and that's also part of medical tourism. Government can look at MOUs with certain countries or regions to promote India as a medical tourism destination in those countries. Recuperation, rejuvenation, and tie-ups will help provide a holistic healing experience for tourists. Medical tourism also provides an excellent opportunity for tie-ups with hotels, that's my business, hospitality industry, and to provide accommodation options. And this is nothing but provide packages, provide long-term stay options. Anybody who's, after being gone through a medical intervention or a surgery, wants to get out of the hospital, probably stay in a hotel for recuperation or for a longer period of time. If he's in a good shape, might want to even travel for leisure. One can always offer an opportunity, and the hotel partnership is equally important. I was looking at a very interesting endorsement, and these are very interesting, endorsements on the net. And I was surprised to see there's a couple in Goa, which is actually doing dental treatments, and they have done some incredible work. They used to do 75,000 dental treatments in 2007, and they're doing 1,45,000 medical treatments today in Goa itself. And all of them, 85% are Europeans and rest are New Zealanders. Strange, statistics, but it's true. So the kind of dental opportunities that are existing today is huge. And now my interest in this whole subject came out from a friend who's currently in Chennai, who's come here from South Africa, and waiting for a lung transplant. And this is a very, very rare condition, of course. I don't know the medical terminology for it, but coming here for a lung transplant, waiting for a donor to come in, and saying this is the best country you can think of. And I've spoken to the individual myself, saying the kind of care I'm getting here for last 1 year. 1 year is incredible. And I think I want to talk about the people factor of our country, which is our biggest strength. Our doctors who've been outstanding. I know they've been people who have had caste aspersions and so on and so forth for various reasons, for ethics and so on. But I think personally, I feel our doctors are outstanding. They do an incredible job. I think they're most skilled in the world today. And that's why even our doctors are sitting in the US and elsewhere. Our nursing staff, incredible. The kind of skills that they have. It's all about love, compassion and care. Medical tourism is nothing but love, compassion and care. Half your wellness comes from there. And I think we should be very proud of that. And this gentleman was only endorsing what I said just now. Because I'm here because waiting for a donor. Otherwise I would have gone somewhere else. It's not just only the cost that I come here, but I also came for the wonderful healthcare that I'm getting in Chennai, in this particular hospital. To conclude, I would like to just reiterate that medical tourism sector has a lot going for it and has seen from its growth over the past few years. By focusing on our strengths and continuing to develop key areas, we can ensure that sector truly booms and leads India into its next big success story. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you so much, sir. And before we call upon our guest of honor, I would like to say a few words in her honor. An IAS officer of the 1991 batch, Valsa Nair Singh began her service as the sub-divisional magistrate of Ghaziabad in Uttar Pradesh. During her tenure, Ghaziabad witnessed the first crime-free assembly elections. She also worked in the Noida Authority and Greater Noida Authority, the two planned cities in the National Capital Region of Delhi. This exposure to urban planning has been one of the great benefits in subsequent postings in Maharashtra cadre. As a district collector of Mumbai City and later as divisional commissioner for Konkan division, Valsa Nair Singh has been closely associated with the problems of Mumbai and Mumbai metropolitan region. Valsa Nair Singh handled the Department of Environment in the government of Maharashtra from 2008 to 2013 as secretary. Several new and innovative policies were introduced during this time: Green Ganesha, Environment Service Scheme, green buildings, green ideas, ease of business in environment clearances, etc. As Principal Secretary, Tourism and Culture since 2014, Valsa Nair Singh has embarked on a journey for releasing the tourism potential of Maharashtra. New tourism policy, First Maharashtra International Travel Mart, Visit Maharashtra campaign are some of the steps initiated by her department. Now I would request her to address the conclave.
Good morning to all of you, friends on the dais, friends in the audience. I mean, good to see so many friends, old friends, and friends who I'm yet to make. As someone said, you enter a room, there are no strangers, there are only friends whom you haven't met yet. So a warm hello, morning to all of you. I'm going to start with an apology. One is the Honorable Minister could not be here. I was just a standby who was supposed to help him perform his role, but he is not here today because of the counting in the local body elections. So I am stepping into his shoes and doing the honors. And secondly, for having been late here today. I mean, there was a reason. 10 was the time Farada told me. But the last 10 days, I have really been having a bad time reaching places on time. I went for a wedding reception last week. It was a very, very big, prominent politician's son's wedding, and the card said 8. So I promptly reached at 8 because I had to go elsewhere. I was there at 8. The father of the groom was there, and he said, please bear with me because the bride and groom are yet to arrive. So from 8 to 9:45 we waited there because you just couldn't go without seeing them. You can't say hi to the father of the groom and go. That was first. Number 2, the second occasion was when I went for an adventure tourism conclave, very similar to this one, and it was not in Mumbai. So people had come from all over the world, and it was like the prestige of Maharashtra government was at stake. So I reached there well before time. Again, it was 10, but when I reached the convention hall, I realized it was just me and a few cleaners there. Somebody was cleaning the carpet, somebody was putting the water bottles on the table, and I probably thought, maybe did I get the venue wrong? Did I get the date wrong? So I checked up and they said no, but in India nothing happens on time. It's 10 means you're expected to come only by 11. So I took that liberty, and when Farhad called, no, everybody is here, so I just left the office and rushed, but again there was a half an hour delay, so please bear with me. Now, having said that and having listened to both the speakers before me, there's hardly anything left for me to now contribute it. But nevertheless, I have made a small presentation which I would like to show before you. I have tried to capture medical tourism from probably a government perspective. I have tried to look at what exactly would be that, what are the special features, what are the strengths which India has, strengths which Maharashtra has, what are the challenges before us, and what would be the way forward, and coming to the kind of partnerships we should have to take it forward. In the new tourism policy which we have launched from 1st April onwards, medical tourism figures very prominently. We have identified about 10 verticals in tourism sector, niche areas. One would be film tourism, adventure tourism, and one of the major ones in that is medical tourism. We are one of the states who have done a lot of work in medical tourism. In fact, in early 2000s, we had a medical tourism promotion council, the only state in the country which had it. Unfortunately, that council is defunct, and one of the long thrust areas in the new policy is to revive the medical tourism promotion council. Once we did our policy, the Government of India Ministry of Tourism has also taken a cue, and now there is an inter-ministerial group between the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Health, and they formed a National Wellness Board, which will also be talking about the same thing, and we are going to work together with that board. A small overview. I know talking to most of you here, it's actually like practicing to the choir. But still, I think, once we get the perspective, it will be easier for us to plan ahead and keep all the timelines in which we should be working. So we talk about medical tourism. There are two particular ways. One would be about the curative care. That will be talking about all the things the predecessors spoke about. It could be about cardiac procedures. It could be dental, cosmetic surgery, heart bypass, hip replacement, etc. Also in medical tourism of equal importance is the rejuvenation part, the wellness part. And I think in Maharashtra, the scope is very, very big for that. We talk about Ayurveda, Unani, Yoga, Siddha, meditation, spa, and naturopathy. What is the current scenario on medical tourism here? It's very interesting to note that Singapore, India, and Thailand account for 60% of the medical tourism in Asia. An estimated 230,000, its figure is now gone up to 250,000, travel to India for healthcare procedure. And even interestingly, SAARC nations constitute 51% of the FTAs traveling to India for medical purposes. In fact, knowing the enormous potential of SAARC tourism to India, we had proposed to hold the first SAARC Tourism Ministers Conclave in Aurangabad in last October. It was earlier planned for April, but the dates were changed. But in October, the dates were set and we had almost got confirmation. And that was to be like the big launch pad for taking SAARC tourism to the next level. We had planned it on a big level. It was the ministers were to attend and along with to come to a big business delegation. But because of the tensions in the area and of the SAARC related issues, it's been postponed. But as and when we hold it, medical tourism is going to be one of the highlights of this SAARC Tourism Ministers Conclave. As Farhad said, it's expected to grow from 3 million to about 8 billion by 3 billion to 8 billion by 2020. And we have the second largest number of accredited medical facilities in the world. Why India? One of the advantages which I earlier spoke about, 48% come here due to the low cost of treatment and 24% due to the insurance and budget limits. Tamil Nadu, National Capital Region of Delhi, and Maharashtra are the three top medical tourism destinations. Factors, you should all know, but for the sake of repeating, I would like to mention it once more. High quality healthcare, extremely skilled doctors, the affordable cost. I've given a small table which gives you the figures for the cost comparison and a heart bypass. What would it cost in US, what would it cost in India, Thailand, Singapore, and I wouldn't want to read it. But I'd like to leave the presentation with you, whoever is interested. And affordable cost, no wait list. In US, you all know better than me that 2 months, 3 months is what it takes to see a specialist. In our country, I don't think it's maybe more than a week depending on the need. World-class specialists, nobody can compete with us when it comes to the best service, the best infrastructure. You know, the hospitals in Mumbai, hospitals in Maharashtra are the best example. The access to latest technology, the best surgeons goes without saying, and we're so proud of all the doctors in this room today. The customer care, as far as the ultimately is all about how you treat the service. It's not just making money, it's how you treat another human being. You know, the philosophy of life is how you try and bring a smile to the patients, smile to the attendees. It also has an angle of philanthropy in it. Customer care and anonymity, and the huge travel opportunities. The strengths of India, the strengths of Maharashtra, Indian doctors internationally recognized as among the best. The education system provides 30,000 doctors and nurses annually, catering to the growing need. And one of the most biggest advantages, as I see for ourselves, is the knowledge of English. English language is a unifying factor for the medical tourists from all across the world to come to our state. And also the charm, the excitement and curiosity about yoga, about all the natural care which we offer. A robust private sector which gives an enhanced quality of healthcare. I mean, I think if these are the days, it's not for the government to run these businesses. The government, apart from the social sector, apart from reaching out to the poor and underprivileged, I think the main role of the government should be only restricted on how to make things better for the private sector to come and invest. As I would say in all the hospitality sector meetings, our job is to replace the red tape with the red carpet. And I think medical tourism is the sector in which we need to prove that. Maharashtra leads in foreign tourist arrival. We are actually second in India. Tamil Nadu is the first, and we are the second in the foreign tourist arrival and fifth in domestic tourist arrivals in the country. So the scope for medical tourism for us is very big. Mumbai, Pune and Nagpur has some of the best state-of-the-art hospitals in South Asia. And the booming growth in sectors like hospitality, airline, food, transport mean more and more people are traveling. In India, in domestic tourism figures, there are almost 1 billion plus domestic tourists traveling within India. That's our biggest market now. The target consumers for medical tourism would be again a SAARC nation, as we discussed, because they contribute 51% of the medical tourism here. Due to the physical proximity and the agreements, mutual MOUs which we have with the SAARC countries. Also the uninsured residents of other nations, US, UK, Canada, Australia, and also total absence of racial discrimination. It's Atiti Devo Bhava, as we believe in. Not only in leisure tourism, in medical tourism. There's absolutely no difference of race, color, caste, creed, nationality. A patient is a patient who deserves the best treatment. I believe by that. Now coming to advantage, my duty is here to talk about how Maharashtra could be the lead in that. So I've done some special work on Advantage Maharashtra. A big range of hospitals. We have some of the representatives sitting here who represent these fabulous and state-of-the-art hospitals. Over 1 lakh highly qualified doctors and larger number of specialists. And a large team of committed nurses. Nursing care, I think, in India is par excellence. Across the world one goes. This is the best service one can get is the Indian nurses. The latest technology and equipment that supports a large number, and tourist spots that are supported by medical facilities. Some of the challenges, but why haven't we able to exploit the potential of medical tourism as we should? I'm trying to pinpoint a few challenges. I would of course like you to interact further with you after this on what would be further challenges and also how to go ahead with this. There is no single government agency which could represent India in the medical value travel. And insurance coverage. I not much idea about this, but this is something I have gleaned from discussion with a lot of travel operators, a lot of people in the medical field, and that is that there is a lack of international health insurance coverage with the local hospital. So I would like suggestions on how we could take this up with the Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Health subsequently. And no end-to-end services, lack of coordination among major stakeholders. It could be the hotel, it could be the airlines, with the hospitals, it could be the tour operators, the wellness centers. Differential pricing, the lack of uniform pricing policy. No seamless service, cross-border payment, transport and connectivity, and the public versus private. There is low investment in the public health infrastructure, like I was saying before, and promotion and marketing. This, I think, is something in which we are woefully left behind in marketing and promotion of our medical tourism assets. Under the tourism policy, we've spoken about medical tourism, continuously focused on that, and we want to position Maharashtra as a first choice for medical tourism destination. Some of the initiatives which have been taken by the Government of India, one is an introduction of a medical visa. Now there is separate M visa for the patient as well as an attendee visa for the attendant. No hindrance clearance has been promised by the Ministry for the tourists at airports. There is a market development assistance scheme also enforced by the Ministry of Tourism. An accreditation and quality control, a national accreditation board for improving quality of services has been set up by the Health Ministry. And about 50 tourist circuits have been planned by the Ministry of Tourism, some of them being medical tourism circuit also. Now, what is the way forward? Some strategies which have come to my mind, I have jotted it down. One is, as again the Deepakji said, is the creation of a task force. We have the Medical Tourism Promotion Council. We need to revive it. We need to make it very active. And I would also, apart from the Tourism Council, like to appeal to all of you here today, like to appeal to IMC that let this not be a conclave in which you come, we exchange ideas and we go back till the next conclave. No. Let us in this conclave resolve that we form a task force by the end of it, maybe a 10-member task force, and this task force should come out with a draft medical tourism policy, a draft guidelines, and give it to us. And we assure you, once we have it, I myself will ensure that with the draft, we will try and have discussion with a larger number of stakeholders. I will take the Directorate of Medical Education also on board with us because they are also very important stakeholders, and we will jointly organize discussions with all stakeholders across the state in different cities. So if the IMC can create a task force and give us a basic document on a draft medical tourism policy, I think that could be a very, very big takeaway from this conclave, because all of you are in the business, you know this better than me on what would be the better solutions to all these issues. So apart from the Tourism Council, I would be happy to have an IMC task force also working on this. We need to establish facilitation centers in the airport for medical tourists separately, develop medical tourism clusters in the state. You first spoke about Aurangabad. I would like to add wellness clusters also. We have had a lot of private investors who are coming into Maharashtra, and we have taken them around. Some of them are very happy with Konkan and want to develop it as a wellness cluster. Lonavala to have it as a yoga and naturopathy cluster. And if you have it, then once any investor comes in, we are absolutely ready to do the entire infrastructure and connectivity for that. The government will do it an absolute top priority, be it roads, be it any other network, be it telecom, whatever, be it power, be it water, that goes without saying. It's really one of the biggest desires of ours to have a big wellness cluster anywhere in the state. Encourage collaboration among the private players. I think this is one of the best venues in this, best examples of how we have all the major players sitting together trying to find a solution. And MOUs with partner countries, Deepakji did talk about it, we are ready to do it, but also tell me how will that MOU help us? Once we do it, we are absolutely fine to go ahead with this. A state authenticated website, I'm totally for it. In fact, we do not have any authentic website as of now which gives you the list of accredited hospitals, accredited service, medical tour operators, the hotels nearby, the entire logistics, if we could work out and put it in one portal, I think that will be a very, very big achievement. In fact, we are trying to do that for many sectors, for adventure tourism, for caravans, and for many other film tourism, and again medical. So if you could one dedicated portal which gives you entire info, and there are many, I did a Google search yesterday, there are many tour operators who offer it, but when the government does it, there's a credibility to it. We all feel good, okay, this is an authentic information, and if something goes wrong, you can always go back to the government and fight for it. So if to be, we would be very happy to partner to come out with a single stop web portal for medical tourism. And digitally enabled healthcare delivery, again Farad did mention about how the latest in technologies, also new yoga centers have sprung up all over. And you go to them, what they try under the guise of yoga is actually, just a coconut oil massage, and they call it yoga. Or call it Ayurveda. So we need to have regulations for strict guidelines, safety regulations also, because you just cannot, it's the prestige of our country, prestige of the nation at stake. We need to ensure that the patient gets the right service. Registration of medical tour operators. Again, it should not be something left for any fly-by-night tour operator to make money. Here, making money is only, I would say, the secondary purpose for us in this. And a complaint resolution mechanism, yearly inspection and issuing compliance certificate, training programs and capacity building, and also additional incentives to be provided, which the government is absolutely behind and ready to provide this. Facilitation centers and airports is something I did talk about, but again, help desk in the airport, a complete docket with details of the hotels, the cab bookings, all the logistical support one could do, authorized healthcare translator, assistance in airport pickups, accommodation, translation. We could make all this as part of the healthcare portal which we're talking about, healthcare portal which we're talking about, and creation of green corridors. It's a little far ambitious, but at some point, we should all come together for a green corridor too. Medical tourism cluster, I did speak about the wellness. This is something similar. Any incentives which the industry thinks is needed from the government for the cluster goes without saying that it will be done. The private-player collaborations are very important. Partnership with countries, mentioned the website, the digital healthcare. Some of the partners who could be recognized in the medical tourism initiative in the state, and the hospitals, the medical college, and the partner countries with whom we could plan to go ahead with, and suggestions. But before I wind up, some of the things I've discussed is, one is that apart from the medical tourism, there's also a very big scope in MICE for medical. There are large medical doctors conventions which happen across the world. The North American Physicians Organization, the European surgeons, they all try to hold their global convention, and 2 years ago we had a very big convention, Alibag. I think we should try and also get more of these medical related conventions in Maharashtra, because that is a good opportunity for us to talk about ourselves, to showcase what you have, and organize trips for the doctors around, to get a little branding for our tourism and for medical facilities. Apart from MICE, another big area I see in which there's a big scope is about exhibitions on medical equipments. We haven't had a single exhibition in Maharashtra on that yet. While we have every single day exhibition on engineering and architecture or everything in the Goregaon Center, not a single one on medical equipment till now. So we need to, as a group, lobby for the conventions to come here and lobby for these exhibitions also to come here. I would also like to request the IMC if we could make a promo film about medical tourism in Maharashtra. We will be happy to chip in, but IMC should take a lead, and if the task force can have this as part of the task force deliverable, I think that will help us a lot. Because we are talking about partnerships and marketing. So we are planning to go now this year to the Arabian Travel Mart. because UAE is one of the biggest the medical tourism potential countries for us. So if we go there as a team and if we have organized a roadshow of the medical tour operators there, and if we try and show a promo film and then do a presentation and then talk about what we could offer, I think it will work very well. And apart from the film, we are also planning to do a few roadshows this year in Russia and in China as well, apart from the other travel month. So in both these, when we talk about heritage of Maharashtra, we talk about the beaches of Maharashtra, we talk about the glamour and fashion of Mumbai, we talk about the wildlife of Maharashtra. I will ensure that in every presentation, in every roadshow, we will have a dedicated slide, a dedicated part which talks about medical tourism. So to this, thank you. So I would say that it could be it should be a joint effort rather than us going. So we would like the major hospitals to be co-exhibitors and come along with us to all these road shows and the travel marts which we do, because ultimately you can talk about it better than all of us. We really are not technically qualified, but our job is to create a platform for you to talk about yourself, to exchange ideas, and to ensure better communication and better contact. I think I can see a lot of days' faces. I hope I really have not overshot and taken on a different tangent, but it's always a pleasure to come and talk to practitioners, people who are associated with the sector, because in my profession I rarely do get to meet specialists. We are all generalists and we just like talking on anything under the sun, but I'm happy I got an opportunity to come here, and I really look forward to hearing your suggestions and hearing your solutions on working our way forward to make Maharashtra the #1 choice in medical tourism in India. Again, thank you, because I believe Maharashtra Unlimited is our catchword. Maharashtra is a land of unlimited beauty, a land of unlimited opportunities, and so much there is untouched and unexplored. Thank you.
May I take the opportunity of this responding? I must say that Monsa, that was absolutely outstanding, and keeping in with your reputation, you have responded so beautifully. The task force, yes, we stretched our hand, and now we will, if I might say, on behalf of Farad and Arvind, make your life difficult. I'm serious about that, because this is a fantastic opportunity for our state and country. One. Secondly, IMC has, with different chambers across the world, almost 140 chambers across the world. So that itself is a very strong connectivity. Third, our own ambassadors in the CIS are pushing this very hard. So the points that you made, yes, we are excited about the partnership. We will form the task force and work closely with you. The film, yes. What we can do is that you can pay 99%. I think that's fair, isn't it? Yeah? Okay, jokes apart. With this, if I might have had Parad's permission, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir. We now have a short film of our lead partner, which we would like everyone to have a look. So can we please have that played?
MTC, Maharashtra Unlimited.
Well, that was absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure as the discussion goes on today, we'll get to see many more such videos. It's now time to begin our panel discussion, and our first discussion is going to be a specialist perspective on medical tourism. I would like to call on the moderator, Dr. Praveen Amin, Bombay Hospital and Medical Research Center physician and intensivist, to introduce the panelists.
I'm from the Bombay Hospital. I'm a physician and intensivist. When Farhat asked me to moderate this session, he knew that I'm wearing two hats. I'm from the medical fraternity, and I'm also the director of medical services for the Taj Group of Hotels. So I'm closely associated with the Taj. So he asked me to set up this panel where we get some specialists from various parts and various specialities from various hospitals. And I'd like to invite all my panelists. Dr. Sonala, Vinay Jacob, Dr. Swarup, Dr. Parag Bindani, Dr. Natraj. Let me tell you the format of this panel. The purpose is to identify the specialities in which medical tourism will play a very important role. And we've kind of identified areas: orthopedics, cardiovascular surgery, cosmetology, ophthalmology. We also wanted a dentist, and unfortunately the person who was supposed to come was traveling abroad, so to complete the panel, I would like first each individual person to introduce themselves. Would you please start? Dr. Swarup, from the cardiothoracic surgeon, would you please introduce yourself?
Hello. Yeah, good morning. I'm Dr. Swarup. I'm a consultant cardiovascular thoracic surgeon and a transplant surgeon. I am basically with Apollo Group of Hospitals. I was previously with them at Apollo Chennai, and currently we've started our own hospital at Apollo Navi Mumbai. So I'm currently based in Maharashtra.
Well, I'm Dr. Parag Bindani, working as the CEO of Wokat Hospital, South Mumbai. I think Dr. Amin has asked me to come onto this panel because of my role as a microbiologist and as the CEO. And Ms. Walsa, when you're going to Russia, don't forget to take me because I've trained there.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sonala. I'm an orthopedic surgeon with special interest in trauma and hip and knee replacements. I basically practice in South Bombay out of most of the South Mumbai hospitals.
I'm Dr. Natraj, Chairman and Managing Director of IIT Rodaya Hospital, which is the biggest eye hospital in Mumbai. And we cater to 24/7 eye trauma care and all the services. And also we run a foundation where we do free eye service in all the slums of Mumbai.
Morning everyone, I'm Vinay Jacob, plastic surgeon at the Bombay Hospital and also honorary professor at the Grant Medical College. My interests are in hand, breast and microvascular surgery, and we're now delving into a huge amount of aesthetic surgery with a colleague of mine who's come in from abroad, Dr. Giovanna.
Well, you'll be wondering what an intensive care specialist is going to do about medical tourism, but as I said, since I'm with the Taj Group of Hotels, so I do understand a little bit of tourism and in fact a lot of it. Let's get the ball rolling first. I'd start with Parag. Would you, as Farhat mentioned, he spoke about JCI, he spoke about recognition of institutes. How do you take this forward in terms of how are our institutes placed and what does JCI really mean? Let the public know what do you really mean by JCI and NABH.
Joint Commission International and National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers are both accreditation systems which are accredited by the International Society for Quality in Healthcare. So technically, they're equivalent. And if you're accredited by the NABH or by Joint Commission International, it essentially means that you adhere to a particular norm of evidence-based medical practice of patient safety, which is pretty uniform across the world. So it's like a benchmark of safety, it's like a benchmark of clinical quality that you use. So a person undergoing a surgical procedure in a Joint Commission accredited hospital, let's say at Thailand, let's say Bumrungrad, and would have similar systems and policies and practices which, let's say, if Dr. Taras Sonawala is operating in Mumbai in a Joint Commission International accredited facility. So essentially, it talks about quality, it talks about evidence-based practice, it talks about patient safety, and it forces the institution to adhere to certain basic tenets of quality of care. And I think that's something which we should be talking about more rather than only talking about cost-effective care, because I think Indian healthcare is more about quality healthcare rather than merely being about cost-effective healthcare. So it does implicitly have this whole connotation that if you come to a facility in India which is accredited, you're coming to a safe facility and your outcomes would be as good as the best anywhere in the world.
Okay, thank you. Now, in terms of quality indicators, when we talk about quality indicators, we know that JCI is American certified and no question about that. How does that compare with, say, NABH, which is a very Indian quality indicator for hospitals?
So most quality indicators that you look at, for example, if I were to look at Dr. Pal's domain area, you're probably looking at a Euroscore rating in terms of what is the percentage of mortality of patients who have a bypass surgery, and would that percentage be similar to a hospital, let's say at Mass General and let's say at Apollo or a Wockhardt or a Fortis hospital in India. And I think that to that end, the NABH standards have evolved pretty well. They do focus on infection prevention, they do focus on infection control and the complication rates, whether it's joint replacement surgery or bypass surgery or oncology. So to that end, we have managed to establish a fair amount of credible understanding of indicators. I think the thing that we always lack in is to be able to showcase that we are as good as hospitals in the West. For example, I know that most hospitals in India today have a door to balloon time post a stroke or post a myocardial infarction of well within 90 minutes, which is within the ACC AHA